This is how these changes actually help you borrow more money. Now, I'm not advocating to get into more debt, but over the last few years, with all the interest rate rises, we've seen most people's borrowing capacity come down by 30 to 40%. So if you're getting an assessment before COVID on 100 grand, the banks were lending you $750,000 as a loan. Fast forward to today, you're looking at about a $500,000 to $550,000 loan. It's crazy, it's dropped, and it's all because of the interest rates. So little changes like this can make a huge difference to help get your borrowing capacity to where you probably want it to be. You see, lenders are starting to finally recognize that renting a room in your house is a legitimate way to help you pay the mortgage, and they're willing to consider part of that income in your home loan application. Because previously the banks would only look at it if it was your home to live in, that's it, it's a home to live in. Doesn't matter if you're getting rental income, they don't care. They just say, well, you're living in there, that's the benefit, that's all. If it's an investment property on the other hand, well, that's fine. They'll use rental income, but then they need to work out where you're living, reduce rent, and it's going to reduce your borrowing capacity. But recently, the Commonwealth Bank has updated their lending policy, and they'll consider up to $150 a week for one boarder as part of your income when they're working out your capacity to service a loan. Now, I know $150 a week might not sound like a fortune. They do cap it, so even if you're getting $300 or $500 a week, that's the maximum they're going to use. But that's still an extra $7,800 in income every year in the bank's eyes. And when they plug it into their calculator, it means that you can afford to service a bigger loan. Let me give you an idea of what this actually looks like with some real numbers. And just remember, these are approximate figures for a single applicant with no other major debts like HECS or HELP. So let's say your income's $70,000. Without any boarder or extra rental income, you might be looking at borrowing around $360,000. But if the bank factors in that $150 a week from a future tenant or friend, your borrowing capacity jumps up to $405,000. That's an extra 45 grand you're gonna get in borrowing capacity. It's crazy, that's almost a 12.5% increase in how much you can borrow just by having someone rent out a room. Let me show you another example. If you're earning, say, $90,000, your borrowing might go to about $470,000. Stick a tenant in a room, it's going to go to $517,000. That's a $40,000 lift. $120,000 takes your capacity from $630,000 to $680,000. That's a $50,000 boost. You see the pattern right here? In all cases, this change in policy is adding a good chunk to your borrowing capacity. And for a lot of people I talk to, this can be the difference between getting in the market into something you can afford and potentially rent out an extra room and not.